good title for this would be This Pilgrim's Progress. Because this is my journey, part of my journey into hearing more clearly from the Lord and experiencing more clearly things from Him. And I firmly believe that everybody can not just hear Him. He said, "My sheep hear my voice." But we can all experience Him in various ways. We were made to experience Him, to communicate with Him. The Father made us for relationship, and any good relationship requires conversations, right? Communication, trust, and that's what He wants from us. So I'm going to start by reading Ephesians 1, 4, and 5. And He chose us to be His very own, joining us to Himself even before He laid the foundation of the universe. Because of His great love, He ordained us so that we would be seen as holy in His eyes with an unstained innocence. For it was always in His perfect plan to adopt us as His delightful children through our union with Jesus, the Anointed One, so that His tremendous love that cascades over us would glorify His grace. For the same love He has for His beloved one, Jesus, He has for us. And this unfolding plan brings Him great pleasure. So our relationship is everything. I believe that His voice, He's like a radio that's broadcasting 24/7. And our place is to turn the dial and tune in. And we have to be, sometimes we have to be adjusting our antenna. My in-laws built a house in the 80s in the foothills. And back in those days, you had to have an antenna if you wanted to watch TV. So because the reception was poor, they had a pine tree out back, and my dad climbed that pine tree, put his antenna up there, and they had great reception, except if there was a storm. So after the storm, he'd have to get out there and adjust the antenna so he could get the right signals. And that's the way we are. We need to adjust and examine ourselves sometimes to check out, is there anything hindering what the Lord wants to say to me? Am I lacking in some area? About 8 years ago, my journey began. I got in fellowship with the North County Healing Rooms, North County Generals, out of the Meyer, and all these wonderful people. And what I saw in them was such an authority that I'd never experienced before. These were lay people, ordinary people, and they had such a good connection with the Lord, and I that was so apparent, and I wanted that. I knew that I was lacking. So I kind of think my journey began there. And I'll read you a quote from C.S. Lewis. When you come to knowing God, the initiative lies on His side. If He does not show Himself, nothing you can do will enable you to find Him. And in fact, He shows much more of Himself to some people than to others. Not because He has favorites, but because it is impossible for Him to show Himself to a man whose whole mind and character are in the wrong condition. Just as sunlight, though it has no favorites, cannot be reflected in a dusty mirror as clearly as a clean one. So our channels are like that. We need to be cleaning them out. So towards the beginning of this quest of mine, I was introduced to a book called The Final Quest by Rick Joyner. In the opening scene, he sees a horde of demons, and they are on the march. They are out to destroy Christians, and they are out to bring division. And in the front line, there's this line of demons with standards like self-righteousness, pride, ungodly judgment, respectability. And I thought, respectability? That's a demon? My mother was from England. She came over as a war bride, and she was extremely proper. And then her mother came over. So all my life, I was raised by these very proper English women who taught us that we needed to keep up appearances. We need to be socially acceptable and fit in, and it was nothing but man-pleasing. It was bondage. So when I recognized that, I thought, wow, it was kind of liberating knowing that it wasn't just me, it was a demon that I could get delivered from. And then the vision goes on. He goes on to say something so horrible about these demons wasn't that they were advancing on horseback, they were advancing on the backs of Christians. So anything like that we've got on, we need to take off so we can clear out our channel, because that's really going to hinder us from hearing from the Lord. So my when I heard about inner healing, the only thing I had to relate to was something from my past. I went to a Catholic school, and as a little girl, there is something called the Sacrament of Reconciliation, which sounds great. But all I knew was it was confession. The dreaded confession. So every couple of weeks, our class would march into the church, sit in the pews, and wait for our turn to enter the box. The screen would pull back, and we would say, oh, but first of all, we were taught that when it comes to confessing our sins, not to be approximate. It was really important to be specific. So I wanted to get it right. I wanted to look good. I wanted to look bad. I wanted it to be over, actually. So I would go in there, and there goes the screen. It's like, bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been 3 weeks since my last confession. These are my sins. I disobeyed my parents 286 times. I told a lie 145 times, and I fought with my siblings 98 times. So I was totally missing the point. I was lying to look good, to look bad, to get out of there, to feel this great sense of relief, which surely came when I got out. We had a girl in our class, to show you how the, is it the fear? Or the shame-fear cycle works. I was so ashamed of my badness. There was a girl in our class named Elizabeth, and she had quite a lisp and kind of an adenoids problem. And so she spoke in a particular fashion. And rather than, when I saw she wasn't here this day, she wasn't sitting in the pews, I thought, I'll be her. This was better than, this was the fear, shame, control. I thought, I can control it. So I went in there and I said, and you might need to edit this out, bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been 3 weeks since my last confession. These are my sins. Now, I don't know if the priest was laughing or if I really fooled him, I have no idea, but I was going to take control of that situation because that shame and fear was so horrible. So when I got involved in inner healing, that's the only thing I had to kind of look back on, and it was so full of shame, and I was so scared. One day the Lord said to me, "I'd like you to put in not a questionnaire, fill out the paper for an issue-focused restoring the foundations." And I said, "Okay." The next week, 7 days had gone by, and the Lord said, "I really want you to fill out this questionnaire for the inner healing." And so I did, and I proceeded in fear and trembling, but it wasn't fear and trembling of the Lord. It was fear and trembling of my ministers and my exposure. But I obeyed, and I am so happy. I was so, that shame, that performance, I went in expecting judgment because I was a very judgmental person. And I thought, yeah, gotcha. But no, I love you guys, and I'm so grateful because they know who the enemy is. It's not any one of us. It's the devil, and they were really so wonderful to me. And I got so much mercy and freedom. And once again, my channel got a little bit cleaner. My antenna went a little better. And so I'm so grateful for that. I believe that the Lord is everywhere, in everything. And when we're expecting, we can see him move. Now, one thing that I was always kind of hesitant of is people that would say, I saw the Lord do this, or I did that. And they saw him in everything. And I thought, oh, that's really over the top. That's too gullible. It's like dream interpretation. You know, if you see a pickup, it might mean things are going to pick up for you. And I thought, nah, that's too simplistic. I'm smarter than that. But you know what? I found out that well, what happened was the Lord was talking to me one day, and he told me he was going to heal me. And then I was pondering it later, and I had this thought, you need to take it with a grain of salt. And I thought, wow, I'm taking the Lord with a grain of salt. That is horrible. If there's anyone that we can trust, it's the Lord and what he tells us. And so, well, I've decided I'd much rather be gullible than unbelieving, because that's the opposite is skepticism and unbelief. So it's sure better to be gullible, and the Lord's not going to pull one on us. He's not looking to shame us. He's not looking to pull the wool over our eyes. So one question is, how does he get your attention? I've heard people say, oh, I'm so dull, the Lord has to whack me over the head with a board. Well, why? We just need to, first of all, trust him that he's loving and kind. And he speaks to us on our level. He speaks to us in our lives, in our thoughts, in our everyday life, in our environment. One thing, though, that's really important is expectation. I know I get on the freeway now, and I'll be driving down the freeway, and I'm thinking, okay, Lord, what do you want to show me? Is it in the sky? He shows me often on trucks, the signs that are on trucks. One day I was going to share with a small group a very short lesson about guarding your heart. And guarding your heart, looking at your heart as a garden that you are going to nurture. You're going to maybe apply some mulch and take care of those weeds, get rid of those weeds. So anyway, I was thinking, okay, guard your heart. And I get on the freeway, and I had time, so I'm just staying in the right lane. And I notice up ahead, there's this big truck, and there's this line of cars in front of me, and they keep pulling around. And I'm thinking, aha, not me. I can't wait to get up there and read that sign. And I got up there, and the sign was gardener, Gardiner, gardener. And I thought, Lord, it's misspelled. But the thing was, the Lord and I laughed about it, but I just felt gardener. That was such a confirmation for me, and it was so personal. And I just knew the Lord was talking to me about it. Another time, kind of an interesting thing happened. Ernie and I were camping, and we were sitting outside. I was reading a devotional book, and suddenly he goes, got it. And I said, what? And he goes, there was a leaf, and I caught it. And I said, wow, there's something meaningful there. Now, we were going to be starting a hub on Tuesday nights, but we were waiting for the Lord to show us what our theme would be. And so a few minutes after catching that leaf, I pretty much said the same thing. I said, I got it, because the Lord showed me apologetics. That was going to be our theme. So a falling leaf, the Lord spoke through that. All this is because of let me just emphasize expectation. An area that I wasn't so expecting was when I would get prophetic words. A few years back, one word came, and it was like, you're an intercessor. And at the time, not me, I'm not an intercessor. I guess this person got it wrong. And later on, another prophet gave a word that I was an intercessor. And I thought, again, Now, the thing was, I didn't see myself as an intercessor because of the picture I had of what an intercessor would be like. A lot holier than I was. A lot more time on their knees or up at night or whatever, and it just wasn't me. And so then, again, the word came, you're an intercessor. And by this time, I was starting to get the message that we need to step into what the Lord is saying about us. And I realized, okay, it's all right to start at the bottom. It's okay to begin this intercessory journey. So I joined an intercession group, loved it, joined another intercession group, loved it, till I joined a group, learned how to pray corporately in our spirit language, and go in a corporate direction together until we were singing in the spirit and taking time to really catch the angelic voices and hear from heaven. So now Friday mornings, before the generals, we have a Holy Spirit intercession that the Lord has given to me to lead at the present. And we are preparing for the meeting, but at the same time, so much of it is just spent listening. I know sometimes I'll say, just catch that picture of that angel singing in your ear, the note, the frequency that you're supposed to sing out, and then sing it out. And so that's been an amazing experience. I really feel sometimes we're so aligned. We're so aligned with the sounds of heaven. So to conclude, I want to return to that picture of the demon horde, because anything that might be on your back that's hindering you is actually something that you can cast off. And Hebrews 12, let me read that. Hebrews 12:1. As for us, we have all of these great witnesses who encircle us like clouds, so we must let go of every wound that has pierced us and the sin we so easily fall into. Then we will be able to run life's marathon race with patience and determination, for the path has been already marked out before us. And I know one other version says, let us lay aside the weights, the sins that so easily beset us. So, is there something riding on your back? Because the Lord wants to free you up, and so your channel can go higher, and you'll have a clearer channel for sure. And you can hear from God much, much more clearly.
Sing over me the song of love. The heavens declare my identity.